Hello everyone, this is Doug. This is going to be, in my world, this is going to be relatively pretty short. I want to open up these two longer videos that I just recorded going from Primm, Nevada, and my last leg of my trip down to Porterville, California. I want to just share a quote with you that I like quotes. My girlfriend that committed suicide left me a book I still have to this day. It's a whole book that has nothing but positive quotes in it, and I've kept it now for like 40 years. But one of the quotes there, I'm driving so I can't look at who it's by, but it's a quote that says, "When love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece. When love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece." Think about that. When love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece. What does that mean to you? You know, everybody can listen to a quote and have their own interpretation, and all the interpretations are cool. I'll just briefly tell you mine, and then I'm going to shift this to those two video clips. And that made me my video today that I download for July 5th on the way to Porterville while I'm driving the truck. So this is what it means to me. Okay. I believe that love, now whenever you hear the word love, what do most people think of? They think of relationship love. They think of falling in love, getting married, that's kind of like up there. That's like immediately, if you talk to anyone, you chat with them, you talk about miracles or love or whatever, because that's kind of in our memory. Second level might be, we might have love for our children if you have children. In fact, people that have a family, they think that's the most highest love, is the love you have for your child or as a mother or a father. You might have love for your mother and father and friends. In my case, another level might be loving what I do, having passion and following my bliss. But I think love, if you define it and look at almost everything, Jack Canfield in the video I just recommended the police was talking about, in his mind, the most important thing in life is joy. To me, joy and love are very similar. He's talking about follow your bliss, follow your joy. What makes you happy? And what he talks about in Jack's essence, and what he says, is it's not about this what I'm doing, is this going to make me a lot of money? Is this what I'm doing can I buy that brand new car? I find joy in driving a truck, but is this going to allow me to buy a house or to travel? Or is loving what I do driving this truck, am I going to attract my soulmate, or I'm going to look impressive or something? You don't do that to impress anyone, When you follow your joy, follow your bliss, follow your love, that's going to start in a weird way. And I just finished with this. I was talking to my friend Pat in the early beginning, just 2 months ago. That's the early beginning of this whole video, essence of driving to Tokyo. I was telling her about my experiences, and also about Christine rejecting my first video and all of that, which I talk about in the second video here. She said, "Do you like doing it?" I said, "Yeah, the truth is I just love making these videos on top of driving a truck." So I love, I'll break it down and I'll get off. I love driving a truck. I've been doing this 12 years. I love it as much or more than I did when I was doing massage, but I love driving. I just love getting up. It's not working. Number 2, I love going to Japan. I love traveling. I love that Flo is into us driving 4 months, maybe going to Japan for a month, driving 4 months, going to Japan, and then the momentum of the people, the experiences, the photos, and the pictures, and having 2 channels. I was traveling domestically, traveling internationally. I love that. Okay, but the third love that I've now discovered just 2 months ago, I love making these videos, and it's weird because right now it's kind of a solitary experience for the most part, to be honest with you. And I don't know where it's going to go. truck. I've been driving a truck for 12 years, and I'm in the mastery, unconscious confidence stage, where I needed something to add to it, and this came along. Now, I'll just finish and say this one thing. Doesn't mean I do everything right. Today, I just went and got a level 1 inspection, and my right glad hand is leaking air. Now, I was going to get that fixed when I got to Tulare because it wasn't unsafe, and I happened to go through the weigh station. I got called in for an inspection. I failed the inspection, and it went on night's record because that red line was leaking. And I was planning on getting it fixed when I got to Tulare, but because they called me in, when you go through the weigh station, you randomly, they just they picked my truck, and they picked it on top of when I'm on a tight schedule, and I was like, oh my God, here we go. Now, I could beat myself up and say, no, I'm not a master driver, I'm not a, whatever. But even when you are at a level, you love what you do, maybe 99.9% or 9% of the time, everything goes in flow, you're in the flow, things are going to still happen. And it's your response to how things happen, that matters. So, anyway, when love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece. It's kind of the theme of these next two videos I'm going to share with you, somewhere in the world, somewhere on the planet, sometime, somewhere. Because once I release them onto my channel, you've got, driving to, I must say you've got mail, that's another thing. Driving to Tokyo, I have no control over, to a certain degree, of who watches these. In fact, Mike said, I'll wrap up with this. He said, we're going to do this 90-day challenge, but it's a long process. Probably, I can't tell you at the end of 90 days if, you're going to have how many followers or subscribers or how many people are going to watch. But all we can do is do it. Just try to keep moving forward, one video at a time, 2 videos at a time, and that's kind of what this is about. And for me, taking advantage of the time, I could have just driven to Porterville and Tulare. I could have, totally, because that's what I've been doing for 12 years. And not made this video, not made the other one. But I listened to my intuition and my heart, and the bottom line is I'm not 25 or 30, I'm not even 40. So I have only a limited amount of time. Okay? Part of the essence of my channel is legacy. Okay? Is how do you or I, each and every one of us, how do we want to be remembered? And what is it that we want to leave behind? What is our essence? What is our core essence? What is our legacy? And mine, in wrapping up this intro for my other 2 videos I just made, is that I want the message to be, you're never too old to start a new chapter. You're never too old to learn a new skill. You're never too old to fall in love. You're never too old to travel to a new country. You're never too old to do anything. Only if you make up, I'm too old. I'm 67. It's just, I'm over the hill. I'll just drive a truck for a few years and fade off in the sunset and go off into the next dimension, and that's it. That's all I'm meant to do this lifetime. Because up to now, that's all that's happened. So therefore, that's essence of what I am. Now, the essence is to lead by example. To go for it. In spite of all the negative self-talk, and even you getting in your own way. Because I still get in my own way all the time, trust me. But what I have is 40 years of personal development that I can kind of be my own coach. I can hear Jack Canfield say to me, Doug, you're doing the best you did, the best you can with the awareness you had at that given time. Doug, off course, on course. Doug, all these. How can I again, when love and skill work together, and my love is the love of driving, my skill is driving. When those two things work together, expect the masterpiece. That's what I have to say this morning. Now, that's my 3 videos for today that I'm going to send to you in Facebook land and YouTube. And I'll probably make some more on my 34-hour reset, but this is just the beginning. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, this is Doug signing off from somewhere in the middle of the desert. Have a wonderful day. Okay, this video that I'm making today, I'm just coming out of Primm, Nevada. I just had a level 1 inspection, and unfortunately, well, here's the good news. There's always seems to be good and bad with almost everything. The good news is I wasn't shut down, I wasn't put out of service, but I did have a leaky red glad hand that was leaking that I have to get repaired when I get to Larry later today. It went on night's service, not mine. So the important thing is I wasn't shut down, and I'm still going to be able to deliver to Walmart unless something else happens on time. I have 283 miles to go today. It's Monday. It's the start of the week for my dispatcher, Michael. And after I get to Tulare on a operational, functional note, I'm going to do a 34-hour reset. I've talked to Madeline, my drive services manager, about this, kind of what we're planning to do and why. I'd have to look, but the bottom line is I was getting down to recap hours, and I wasn't able to deliver the pre-plan that was after this, so we talked about the best strategies to do a 34-hour reset in Tulare. So I'm going to get that glad hand fixed, and then we'll be back in business. And, now switching gears, since this is a new video, I made one last night, and I didn't have any driving scenes on that particular video. So this video, I'm gonna, since I am driving for about 7 hours, I'm gonna talk while I'm driving a little bit, and I want to highlight safely, in my opinion, and talk about something I just decided to do. As I've told many of your, there's just a handful of you watching my videos. Mike, you're watching them. Don, Eric, Yuki, and now Felice, my new friend in Singapore. It's very busy, so I appreciate the fact that she even watches me at all. But here's the bottom line. I had kind of in my own mind, I had kind of a slight difference of opinion as far as holding the phone, which I could go into as far as comparing it with shifting a 10-speed, a manual transmission, and how you have your right hand on the shifting gear when you're a student, and you have some awareness, just like I have the right camera, and I'm not looking at it, I'm just simply panning as I'm visually looking forward and still watching the same, watching my mirrors like I am now, watching the road. I'm not being unsafe. But because Knight Transportation has a policy, which I respect, that they want us to use hands-free, hands-free talking with a Bluetooth and hold the phone, I'm not going to hold the phone. This is mounted on the windshield, so I have both hands on the wheel, and I'm simply talking as I'm going up the hill and filming it. And all I simply do when I'm done recording, I just push the red button and it stops. The reason why I want to do this, and I'm perfectly willing not to do this, I've sent all my videos to Madeline, the drive services manager, and I'll get her opinion on it because I want to be above board. But here's the bottom line: is driving to Tokyo. We're in the very early stages of it. This is just about a month old. This is Mike. I mentioned Mike a lot since he's come on board to do this 90-day launch with me. The essence of driving to Tokyo, I've mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning because some of you may pop on and watch the video at various different times. For example, Felice who just sent me a message via Facebook just a few days ago and said she was enjoying my videos. I was like, to be honest with you, I was like, wow, somebody from Singapore liked my videos and get value, and on top of it, a woman, that's another truck driver, and a woman from Singapore who's much younger than me. I think this is pretty amazing the way the internet works, and it's in alignment with my feeling or my belief about why I'm doing this YouTube channel. It's for a variety of deeper reasons. One of them is that I'm not trying to have 2 million subscribers. I mean, if that happens, I'm not gonna stop it. Oh no, I don't want 2 million subscribers. And I'm not doing this to have likes, and I'm not doing it for that. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this video and this channel is that the bottom line is, if I don't do it, okay, let's just be real, okay, if I don't do this channel and I don't create these videos, including when I'm driving, which is a big part of my life now because I drive, that's how I make my living. If I don't do these videos and I simply drive whatever time I have left, whether it's 2, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, yes, I will have the experience I've had the last 12 years from the time I started driving in April of 2009, and all the experiences, including going to Japan 5 times in 2 years, everything. I will have those experiences in my mind, in my consciousness, in my heart. No one can take those away from me, and I don't necessarily even have to see videos or pictures for me to, reap the benefits of my experience, right? Now, but I've had a lot of personal development training, and I'm not saying this to boast or brag, because I feel like at this point I'm kind of a student teacher, meaning there's a saying in personal development that when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And it's this idea that when you first go on I hope my audio is coming through because I'm going up this steep grade. I have both hands on the wheel, by the way, and I'm totally focused on what I'm doing. But I'm also speaking. Okay, I can actually speak and drive at the same time. But anyway, there's a saying that I heard over 40 years ago, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And the teacher can appear in many, many, many different forms. As you know, Felice mentioned she loves reading personal development books. Reading is an excellent source to deepen your awareness of who you are, what you're about, your why in your life, and all the different things. Also, every mentor I've ever had talks about the importance of reading, okay? Reading every day and reading some of the best books. Like Jack Canfield, I mentioned to Felice this morning, we're having a nice chat, just one of our first early chats, and I was talking to her about Jack Canfield. And I was thinking I want to recommend something to her that gives her a sense of some of my own personal mentoring and history. So rather than talk about Jack Canfield, I wanted to give her an actual experience of Jack Canfield on Oprah, where he's talking now modern day, right now. He's in his 70s. When I met Jack, I believe, I'm just round numbers, he probably was about 38 or 39, and I was about 33. So this would be, when very beginning, when he went from being a facilitator for a personal development organization. I think it was called Insight. I might have it wrong, but he had started out being a facilitator for an organization, and then what happened is he decided to branch out and start a seminar company of his own, okay, called Self-Esteem Seminars. And this he was living in Southern California, and he decided to launch this seminar company and start doing workshops in the San Diego, California area, okay? Well, I could probably talk for a whole half an hour about how I ended up meeting Jack, which is pretty mystical, magical how it happened. And it's in perfect alignment to things happen for a reason. Another thing, you hear this all the time, things happen for a reason. Now, some people that are spiritual or religious or Christianity may say it's God's will or it's divine will. Others may say it's the universe. Others may say it's a higher intelligence. Whatever you believe, there are things that I believe come into our life for a reason, okay? And I believe that our voice, okay, our beliefs, our intuition has very big significance. In fact, my intuition's guiding me just to go ahead and tell you the story. Sometimes, if you watch my videos, I apologize. Sometimes I'll start talking about something I think is the right thing to talk about, and then I go off on a completely different tangent. I want to explain why. Okay, this might sound really kind of crazy, but I'm just telling you the truth. Okay, like you, all of us, we have our mind. Okay, we have our intellect, we have our logic, we have our subconscious mind. We're all wired with the same human physiology. You know, we all have that. I don't have it. Mine's not any different than yours. Mine's not any different than Lisa's. Mine's not any different than Michael and Michelle's. We all are wired, or we have the same physiology. You know, but what happens is our level of trust and awareness is sometimes different. Okay, so how I met Jack in the first place, in of itself, is a perfect example. Now, you have to take into consideration this was probably, to be exact, this was probably something like 35 years ago, 3 decades ago. So Jack was much younger, and I was much younger, but that doesn't take away the magic of the story and also the influence of it right now, this here and now, for me, okay? What happened is, and how I met Jack is, and I'll try to give you the short version as much as I can, because if I go into all the details, I'm not exaggerating. Just telling this part could take a whole hour, okay? So like Reader's Digest, I'll just try to give you the high points. And if you're listening to this and you want to have a chat about, you know, more questions you may have, or anybody else that watches this, please put it in the comment section. I can go and answer your questions specifically. It's something that maybe I didn't cover. But the bottom line is, when I was 24, I had a girlfriend that committed suicide, and I may end up piecing her picture, because I have it, and that was another magical story. Her name was Carol Cook. Okay, I met her when I was 24. Before I really got involved with meditation and metaphysics and all the things I'm involved with now, my girlfriend Carol tragically took her life. And she did so, I'm just talking to Felicia, and she said, let's not say goodbye, and let's just say talk to you later. I wanted to let you know that there's certain things that are said in our lives by people, and things that happen that are very significant, may seem like a little thing, okay? So, like when Felice said this morning, let's not say goodbye, let's talk later. You have no idea, she probably had even no idea about the significance of that, so I'll explain. I saw my girlfriend Carol on a Tuesday night after she had tried to take an overdose of pills and didn't succeed. She tried to take her life 3 weeks previous, and this was Christmas time. I tried my very best to tell her I love her, you have a lot to live for, you know, I've tried to save her life, more or less. I tried to talk to her and just convince her that she has a lot to live for, and so on and so forth. But on a Tuesday night, she said to me, when I left her for the last time, she said, I love you, but I may never see you again. I love you, but I may never see you again. That was on a Tuesday night. This was way back around 1977 or so, okay? I went home, you know, and I was thinking, I was only 24 years old, and I was thinking, I don't know everything I can to try to convince her that I love her, that she has something to live for. She's still telling me that, I may not see her again. So the following day, I went to call her several times, and there was this energy, this force that said, let me go. I want to leave. Please let me go. And I just, frankly, just couldn't call her. Then that night, this was Wednesday, I dreamt that she would shoot and kill herself, like I was watching a real movie. Okay. Then the next day, I went to work, and you have to understand that I'm all about communication. I've always been that way, especially in relationships. But somehow, some way, it was like her spirit was saying, if I want to go, you can't stop me. Let me go. And it was hard. It was really hard experience because I didn't completely understand what was happening. So the bottom line, the next morning, Friday morning, I actually got a phone call, and it was to tell me that Carol had shot and killed herself and she was dead. It was just 3 days after she told me, I love you, but I may never see you again. Now, that event rocked my world. It flipped me upside down. Okay, I tried to work for a whole year. And I could go into all the details. But the bottom line is, there's a lot that happened. But how it has to do with Jack Canfield is, after her death, I prayed, to God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, that I want to help me understand life. Help me out to understand how a woman who's my girlfriend, who's a born-again Christian, who's religious and spiritual, who I felt I demonstrated that I loved her and was a wonderful person, how she could take her life at age 24. I need help. I kind of put that cry out to the universe. Okay. Then after that, for basically the rest of my life has been kind of like a modern day metaphysical Forrest Gump. From that point, if I reflect on all my chapters in my life, it's been like being in a movie, in a way. It might sound really far out, but it's been like, everything as I reflect back, it's been unbelievable. But anyway, this is how I met Jack. Okay. After Carol's death, I ended up meditating. I became a part of an organization called Self-Realization Fellowship that happened to be right there in Encinitas where I met Carol. And it was a meditation group that their teaching was the teaching of Eastern Krishna, Hinduism and Christianity, and how the Bible and Bhagavad Gita were, interconnected. And it was learning how to meditate, and it was a very deep organization that I've become a part of. And it was my first, not quite my first meditation. My first meditation experience was transcendental meditation before that. But what happened was, I went through about 4 years after Carol's death where I didn't date. I lived like a monk. I was meditating. I was practicing silence. And they have to get this. I was like about 25 years old. And one of the things that Self-Realization Fellowship had, the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, there was a technique on how to attract your soulmate. How to attract your soulmate. There was like a specific technique. And I was sitting, this was in Encinitas, California, in my little studio. This is God's Honest Truth, doing these soulmate affirmations. I guess this is kind of the deeper, longer story of how I met Jack Canfield. Trust me, I'm going to get to Jack Canfield. So I'm doing these soulmate affirmations. And my inner voice, my intuition, you can call it God. I don't want to say it's God, like God's talking to me directly. There was a guy that wrote a whole book about conversations with God. So I'm not trying to, Donald, I'm not saying God was talking to me, but some higher part of my being or spirit or intuition, whatever you want to call it, said, you're doing soulmate affirmations. get on your bike now. Ride down to the Earth Song bookstore now. Why? And I'm sitting here having an inner conversation with it. No, I'm doing these soulmate affirmations. Leave me alone. I want to do these soulmate affirmations. And this voice like, this is why. Get on your bike and go. So finally, what I can say is the universe can be very persistent. If you don't listen to its voice or her voice, it will keep manifesting. You know. So I got on my bike. I was living in this little tiny studio. I didn't have a car. I was working at a health food store a block away. I had very little. I had no money. I was living in this little tiny studio. My whole focus was my spirituality at the time. So I ride my bike down to a place called Del Mar, where Tony Robbins, if you've heard of Tony Robbins, he actually had his home called The Castle, about 10-minute walk from where I rode my bike to, just to give you a reference point. So I ride my bike down to Del Mar, to this Earth Song bookstore that I used to go to actually get my metaphysical books that I read back in the day. Okay, I walk into the Earth Song bookstore. I just been doing these soulmate affirmations, and I walk in, and you know, naturally, you know, I go to the metaphysical section where I usually go, and you know, and I'm standing next to this woman, okay, who is about my age. And the voice says to me, talk to her, that's why you're here. So I start talking to this young lady, her name is Sharon. And we start talking. I kind of felt a chemistry or a connection with her, okay? But I've never really dated, and I'm actually kind of shy. And I don't like to be, you know, I don't know how to say, I don't like to pressure or push or force anything. So I didn't really say anything. I didn't ask her for her phone number or say anything. But she started walking out the door, okay? And that voice again said, stop her! Why you are here? So, given that she was in the metaphysical section, I thought maybe she wouldn't think I was crazy, and plus the voice was telling me to say this. So I walked up to her. I said, this might sound really crazy. And this is the God's honest truth. This is exactly what happened. I said, this might sound really woo-woo out there, but my inner voice is telling me we're supposed to have a conversation. I don't know why. I don't know if you're open to it, but if you're open to having a conversation, it's just something's telling me we're supposed to have a conversation now. So oddly enough, she didn't say, no, I gotta get going. It's really weird. You're weirding me out. You know, I'm out of here. She said yes. So we walked around the corner. There was this beautiful park. It's still there today, overlooking the ocean. And we sat there on a bench, and we talked for about 3 hours. The very first conversation, back and forth about life and metaphysics and da-da-da. Well, I found out, here's how it has to do with Jack Canfield. I found out the only reason why she was at that bookstore. She was living in a place called Dana Point, which was about an hour up the coast, you know, an hour north of Encinitas, where I live. And she was meeting with a guy named David Harris. David Harris. I could even Google and see if I can find out this information to validate it. And he was the founder of an organization called Mandala Holistic Health Society. And they put on these big, huge seminars at the USD campus. And she was an RN, and she was working on his inner staff and had been meeting with him about that particular event. So instead of taking the freeway, she decided to take the Coast Highway. And she saw the bookstore, parked her car, went in. I was riding my bike down the coast, and we happened to meet at that exact time because of my inner voice told me to. She just felt like maybe she'd take the Coast Highway up to where she lived. Well, she went home that day. She went home that day and told her roommate that she just met the man she was going to marry. She just met the man she was going to marry. And she proposed to me 3 weeks later. She proposed to me 3 weeks later. Now you have to understand, I was doing these soulmate affirmations. Friends of mine later said, what's new? What's new, Doug? well, I'm actually getting married. Well, how can you be getting married when you're not even dating anyone? I said, well, might sound funny. I just started dating someone 3 weeks ago, and she proposed to me, and I said yes. So, we got married. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, how this has to do with Jack Canfield, I started working with her and David Harris as a volunteer for this particular workshop where Jack Canfield was one of the speakers and trainers. And part of the exchange of me volunteering with this organization, we got to attend workshops. Okay? My inner voice told me a while back when I started, before I even met Sharon, that I would meet Jack Canfield someday. I would meet Jack Canfield someday. So I decided to test the theory. Okay? So I went to one of Jack's workshops that I got to go to for free. It was at the USD, it was at the La Jolla Village Inn. I'll never forget it. I went to his workshop. There was probably 150 or 200 people there. I was just one of about 150 people attending the workshop, listening to it, and I just kind of wanted to test the theory. My voice said I would meet him someday, so I thought, why not just show up at one of those workshops? After the workshop, Jack came up to me and asked me, would you like to work with me? And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, I would like you to be my sound man for my seminars. I'm launching a new seminar called Jack, Self-Esteem. This was the intro evening. And I'd like you to be my sound man. I'm like, Jack, I don't know how to do sound. He said, I'll teach you. I'll teach you everything you need to know, but I'd like you to start working with me if you're open to that. And I'm like, are you crazy? And that's how I met Jack Canfield. It was magical working with him for 4 solid years. I massaged him. He got to know my wife, Sharon. I was on his inner staff with a guy named Cliff Durfee. You can do all of this research to back everything I'm saying. In the early stages, he worked with a guy named Cliff Durfee, who had this organization called Live, Love, Laugh. And we met with Cliff at his home down, I think, Pacific Beach. And I attended all of Jack's trainings for free. I recorded all of Jack's trainings. I did that for a solid 4 years. It completely changed my life. That's why I shared Jack Canfield's video with Felice this morning, to give her a sense of not just Jack, but a little bit of my own personal history. Now, obviously, that was how many years ago? I have a lot more to share related to Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Inside Edge, Brian Tracy, and you just can't imagine, you just can't believe all the people the universe sent to me when I said, can you please send some teachers? Can you please help me understand the meaning of life? Now, the bottom line is, for years, and still to this day, I've considered myself a student, I've always loved just reading, studying, learning, because Jack said in a video I just watched, he said that, people can get stuck, and I can even play the clip, because I just found it. Even though I haven't seen Jack, I can still watch his interviews and watch him, and I feel like I'm just being coached by him directly because, I had personal experience, so they're not just an abstract video or something. It's like I'm hearing Jack, like he's in the same room with me. But one of the things that Jack said, and it's so true, he said, a lot of people read the books, they listen to tapes, they go to the seminars, and that's where they leave it. They don't practice it in their life. They don't actually live it. They don't practice it. And so therefore, they don't really get true, value from the books, from the tapes, okay? That's what I'm talking about. You can be a student, but for you to kind of open up and become like a student teacher, okay, you have to complete the loop. And what that is personal life experience, personal life time with all these people. Why aren't you a gazillionaire? You know, I don't get it. You know, where's the disconnect? You know, and I can completely understand because that's how the Western world, that's how, you know, the top level of the matrix, that's how things are judged. It's only, people just see the superficial thing. They don't realize that I'm driving a truck, okay, because I love driving a truck. I follow my bliss. Like, if you watch Jack Canfield's, and this is what I want to shift into, because I'm kind of blabbing while going down the highway. Felice, I appreciate your concern about my safety while I'm driving, but I'm completely safe. I got my Jake brake on. I'm going down the steep grade. I know I'm going into Baker. I know I'm going 259 miles from my destination. I know that I have 6 hours and 58 minutes on my 70, which is a little close at 7. I've got about a 50-mile mission right now, so I'm aware of what I'm doing. Okay? I can operate on 2 planes of consciousness at once. I can walk and chew gum at the same time because I've been trained to do that. Okay? You know, personal development is not something you just, oh, I'm going to do this after I get off work. Okay? Oh, I'm going to do this when I get around time to do it. Personal development and living a higher level consciousness is something you do every waking moment of your life. It doesn't matter whether you're a 67-year-old truck driver like me. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, you practice it to the best of your ability. On the interview with Oprah, Jack Canfield said, I remember him to this day, he said the same thing to me when he was coaching me about something. We all make decisions based on our own best awareness, the information we have at that given time, and we make decisions to go forward. We may find out maybe a day later, a week later, a month later, that, oh my God, I'm a little off course. So Jack talked about being on course and off course, on course and off course. The universe always talks to you. So I'm going to relate a personal seminar experience with you now to illustrate this that Jack actually did with me and the group on our self-esteem seminars. Okay. Now you have to use a little bit of imagination because you're watching a video of me going down the highway. You're not in a seminar, right? Imagine Jack in the front of the room speaking, Jack Canfield. We dim the lights, we move all of the chairs that we were sitting on to the side. Okay. So then there's this big empty room, and then there's maybe 150 or 200 people that decided to attend this weekend seminar, personal development seminar. And Jack would say, okay, here's what we're going to do to have a real life experience in this whole review and adjust, off course, on course idea. Okay, I want to volunteer. So someone would volunteer. We would put a blindfold on that volunteer, and it was usually someone brave because usually people are scared to volunteer because they might embarrass themselves. So it takes a brave person to step out. I'll volunteer, Jack. So we put a blindfold on that person, and the idea was now they can't see but they can hear. Okay, and Jack would say, I'm going to take a chair, put it somewhere in this room. Okay, the person cannot see where it is. But all of you, when the person steps, you have to say out loud, off course, off course, off course, on course, on course, off course. The whole entire way. No matter how long it takes. It could take that person 30 minutes to find that chair. But you're their feedback mechanism. You're acting in the role of the universe, speaking to them. So the idea is everyone may, one person may find the chair in 5 minutes. On course, there, you found it. Another person may take forever and walk around in circles and get frustrated, and the room may get frustrated. Go, no, off course, no, on course, off course. But he did that to demonstrate to people how the universe works, okay? How the universe works. Now, in my own particular situation, if you kind of put yourself in my shoes, I'm almost 68 years old. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here, okay? I could live another 5 years, I could live another 20 years, but I know, like Wayne Dyer talks about, I have music still in me to be played. And another way as we're motoring down the highway, on the way to Portville to drive a Walmart load. And I've got 5.4 seconds behind this vehicle. I'm in the right lane. I got my Jake brake on. We're heading down to Baker. We're actually okay. We're tracking okay. But anyway, as a land pilot, I have to know where I'm going all the time. But when I'm a land pilot, it doesn't mean I have to just drive down the highway and just go, I'm a land pilot, I'm a land pilot, I'm a land pilot, I'm a land pilot, I'm a truck driver. That's all I am, a truck driver. That's all I do. Remember the Rain Man movie when Dustin Hoffman said, I'm an excellent driver, I'm an excellent driver. I count cars, I'm an excellent driver, I'm an excellent driver. I could just chant all day long, I'm an excellent driver, I'm an excellent driver, I'm an excellent driver, I'm an excellent driver. Oh, I'm an excellent driver, excellent driver, excellent driver. I could do affirmations all the way too. I'm an excellent driver. I'm an excellent driver. I'm an excellent driver. So I live that. I'm an excellent driver. But I can also think and talk at the same time, safely. Now, I don't even know how long I've been talking. I can't even see the thing. And I know most people's attention span is about 5 seconds. And I'm very lucky if any of my videos, someone watches a video more than, I'll share this one story, and it's a true story, 36 minutes into this video. I can stop that long rant, and I'm starting a short one. That's the cool thing. Mine can chop up the 36-minute rant. I can do it myself and put stuff in between and dress things up. So as you're watching, it might be not completely unedited, okay? But this is a true story. And the purpose of this story, Felice, Yuki, Don, Eric, Mike, Michelle, the handful of people that may be watching this, and any others that may pop on the scene later. The purpose of this story is you may start on something you honestly feel with your heart of hearts, with every fiber of your being, that it's the right thing for you to do. And right out of the gate, right out, boom, you get shut down. You get rejected. You hit a barrier. And you think the universe is saying, no, this isn't the right way to go. Stop. It's like a stop sign or a red light, or you're driving along the highway using highway analogies. I'm on this highway, and all of a sudden it says road closed, detour. And you say, oh yeah, this is a perfect example. I'm not supposed to be on this highway. Perfect example. If this detour sign or this stop sign or I got in an accident or I got a flat tire, it's a perfect example. I'm not supposed to be doing this. No. It does not mean that. That's just a meaning you're adding to it. It does not mean that at all. Okay? Or try this on. Christine, who I love to death, girl traveler, GRRR traveler. She has a channel. Go to YouTube. I'm promoting her, talking about her. Go check it out. Felice, if you're there, just check out GRRR traveler and check out Christine. Christine is somebody that way back, it's been a few years, I can't tell you, it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I kind of stumbled upon her channel. Just like a subscriber, just like Felice stumbled on this channel. I didn't know how she found me, but she watched the video. I watched one of Christine's videos, and it really spoke to me about travel, because I had not made an international trip in over 20 years since I went to Brazil. And I watched her videos as a truck driver, and I got kind of re-inspired that maybe I could travel again. It wasn't to become a YouTuber or have Driving to Tokyo or anything like that. It was like, I think I could actually maybe do this again. Get on the horse again. So I started watching her videos. I really loved her heart, her energy, her authenticity. And I joined her inner circle and started contributing to her, $5 a month or whatever. And when I started contributing to her, I got on her inner circle, just like I was on the inner circle with Jack Canfield. talked to us different than the general public. She told us about her trials and her tribulations and all the challenges she was having in ways that she didn't talk about it on her general channel. Okay, so I really felt connected. She fast became like a mentor of mine. And anyway, long story short, what happened is I ended up joining a group called Video Legends, which is a course that she designed literally just a few months ago to help aspiring YouTubers to become successful, to monetize their channel, to take things to the next level. Well, when I joined her group, I didn't even have a channel. Everybody else on the group had channels, and they had videos, and maybe they even they were monetizing their video, and they were actually making money, and they're fairly successful. And then here I was on this group. The only reason I was really there is I respected Christine, and I wanted to contribute. Actually, I just wanted to contribute to her because I could just give her money, but if I buy her course, I'm kind of contributing to her. Plus, I'm getting some value. You know what I mean? There's some mutual value. So here I joined this group, and simultaneously at the same time, I discovered iMovie, that I'm making this all on a will when I get to Larry. I make a movie, and I accidentally pressed the cartoon button. I didn't even realize what I pressed. I didn't even know how I pressed it. And it was a lot like the Waking Life movie, where it turned my video into like a cartoon. Okay, so she asked in the group, did anybody have a breakthrough this week, or have a breakthrough as far as creating a video, or a breakthrough in your YouTube channel, or whatever? So in my mind, I had a breakthrough because I had no channel. I never really made a video that was even connected to, driving to Tokyo. And so I sent a message to her. Well, her feedback was, I could only watch 2 seconds of your video. 2 seconds. It was unwatchable. I could not watch it. Do not ever do that again. Meaning the cartoon thing. I didn't even know what it was. She said something, abbreviation of some kind, like DSL or don't ever do that again. So it just about stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, oh God. Here I get in this course. Her very first feedback is, I can only watch 2 seconds of your video. It's unwatchable. It's horrible. I'm like, I don't belong here. That was my first response. It was like, I don't belong here. These are for the content creators. I'm not a content creator. I was wrong. I shouldn't even be. So I dropped out. I dropped out of her Patreon account. I thought to myself, I'm completely off course here with Jack's. I'm off course. I thought Christine was somebody that would like my work, would mentor me, and I've spent all this time and energy and money and time with her, and I guess my perception was completely wrong. She just doesn't get me at all, and I'm just not even supposed to be here. And I kind of dropped out. Now, I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't resentful towards her. I wasn't like, I still love her. I still think she's awesome. But it was more of the perception that this wasn't even meant to be. I don't even know why I'm even in this course. Okay. Then what happened, I'm a solo driver and I'm by myself all the time. I have all this extra time, so I just decided, what the heck. Christine may say that, but I'm just going to keep making these videos because I like making them. I'm following my bliss. I'm enjoying this. I just won't go public or whatever. So what happens? I share one of my videos in a month. I'm not exaggerating. In a month, I made something like 90 or 75 or 100 videos after she gave me that comment. Because one of the things I learned from Jack Canfield and others was repetition was the mother of skill, and that you got to do something bad before you get good. So I thought I'd practice that. If Christine said my videos were so unwatchable that she could only watch 2 seconds, I guess they're really bad. But I can either quit or do really bad stuff on my own, in my own little sanctuary here in the truck, and keep working on it, keep watching them. And I shared one of my videos with Mike, who I keep referring to, who was the co-founder of the video 90-day challenge that I had done in September, just thinking, wow, that's Christine's point of view. I'll send them, Michelle and Mike, the same exact video Christine says you can only watch 2 seconds of to get a second opinion. They said they loved it. They loved it. They thought it was really cool. And Michelle's comment was, don't let someone's opinion detour you from what your heart's telling you to do. Listen to your own guidance. So I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I have one person who's my mentor who says I can only watch 2 seconds. I have another quote-unquote mentor who's co-founder of the Video Matrix telling me it's wonderful. And I have my inner guidance telling me that, you know, you got to do something bad before you get good. I guess I'll keep going. So Mike said, I'm actually thinking about even driving a truck because I like your video so much and it seems like a no-brainer to me. I laughed and I told Mike, this is weird because that's part of the intention, is to pay it forward and to share truck driving and my unique slant on it with people that might be a perfect fit for them. And you're telling me you're the co-founder of the Video Matrix that I did in September, where I made a video every single day for 90 days and answered all these questions and watched videos, and I did your course, and you're telling me that you're actually thinking about being a truck driver as a result of watching my video? He said, yes. And he said, in fact, I think we ought to do this 90-day challenge. You and I, we should launch your channel. And I'm like, wow. So, breakthrough. So, it's an alignment, at least, and others that are watching, that what happens when you're on the path is you just have to have one person who you consider a mentor believe in you. Even though maybe another mentor said, tough love, your video stinks, I can't even watch it. Another says, hey, I like your video so much, I even want to align with you and help you launch your channel, and let's do a whole 90-day launch together. I'm like, I didn't know what to say. And of course, there's always trade-offs. Mike said, this is what I'm willing to do, but it's, you know, this is what it's worth. It had, you know, this is what, you know, it was like, they call it a funded proposal. It's basically the idea that everything in our life, whether we know it or not, has a price. You know, it might be your time, it might be your attention, it might be money, it might be barter, it might be something. There has to be some exchange of energy, you know, when you give something, or it can be mutual. I give this, you give that, so it can get kind of complicated. But the bottom line is that Mike and I did a Zoom call talking about all this, and I still have it. It doesn't go away. I still had resistance. I still had that, why should I do this? But I decided, Mike said, well, it's up to you. I'm not going to pressure you into doing this, but if you want to take things to the next level, all people are saying, where's your channel? You got to post this stuff on the channel, and you don't even know how to download it to YouTube. Maybe it would be a good idea to let me help you and do a 90-day launch with Driving to Tokyo. So I said yes, and I committed to what we negotiated on, and went all in, and thought, okay, let's do this. And we're about a month into it. Now, I'll be honest, if you look at all my videos, many times there's 3 views, 4 views. You know, our first hangout we did, I think we had some like 500 something views. I don't even know why. And I looked on the night videos, and somehow our videos are kind of mixed into the night videos. And here's the bottom line. when you're starting out on something that's brand new, you don't have to buy into this. I'm just saying this is my feeling. This is my belief. You don't have to buy into this belief, but you're gonna have a learning curve. You're gonna have a period where nothing seems to happen. You're gonna have a period where maybe you feel like you made a mistake. In fact, there may be a time, there might become a time when I'm sitting here going, why am I doing this? I don't know why I'm doing this. This is crazy. I'm driving a truck. I love driving a truck. I'm earning a good living driving a truck. I don't have to make videos. I don't have to start a YouTube channel. I don't have to mentor. I don't have to teach. I don't have to do any of this. I like to have a simple life. I don't have to overcomplicate. You can get this whole huge dialogue that takes you down this whole rabbit hole that you get completely detoured and you sabotage yourself to the point you're going, or you want to call Mike and say, Mike, I decide I don't want to even do this anymore, And you have all the justification, you have all the reasons. You even talk to some friends and they go, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is crazy. Why are you doing this? I had a friend of mine named Richard, one of my best friends, and he asked me when I told him this was happening. He said, well, is he charging you anything for this? And I said, of course, So, anyway, 14 minutes into this, these are the two videos that I'm going to use for my current video today. I believe it's July 5th, Monday, and I have to drive 239 miles to deliver this to Walmart. I have to go into the Tulare yard to have them fix my red leaky flat hand. I have to do my 34-hour reset, and I'm still functioning as a truck driver safely, but I'm using this precious time that I have right now with you to pass on something that I hope will be of value, if anything, just at least entertaining. I was chatting with police just on Facebook chat, and she said something like, "You're very entertaining," something like that. And this is just through text, not a video. And I thought, oh yeah, I want to at least be entertaining. Now, I'll just finish with this. There's one thing about me that surprised me. Sometimes I have this stand-up, metaphysical kind of comedian that comes out just out of the blue, who's channeled for me. So if I ever seem a little wacko, or I seem a little odd, or I seem a little funny, or a jokester, Carolyn Mice talks about us all. We all have these different archetypes in our personality. I kind of have the monk, I have the jokester, I have the entertainer, I have the explorer. That's kind of why I'm driving a truck. We all have our different parts of our whole being that come out sometimes in various different degrees. Okay? And my whole spiritual DNA makeup, just because I'm a truck driver doesn't mean you have to find your list of driving a truck. Okay? Just because I love going to Japan and I have this whole driving to Tokyo channel, you don't have to necessarily do that. However, everything I'm doing right now is completely duplicatable. Completely duplicatable. I can teach someone to do exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and it's completely duplicatable. Okay? That's one of the beauties of it. And the whole essence of this channel is to pay it forward. Okay? And I'm looking more for quality than quantity. Okay? Quality, one person can step up and say, like Felice did. She just wrote me a one-liner just 2 days ago and said, I like your work. And I thought to myself, oh, that's cool. She likes my work. And I noticed she was in Singapore. And I thought, oh, wow. Singapore, that's kind of in Asia. And it kind of fits in with the whole driving to theme. Can be anywhere. It can be driving to Tokyo, driving to Singapore, driving to Thailand, driving to Asia, driving to anywhere in the world. Anywhere. And now I have a person in Singapore that I don't even know. Just says it, I like your work. Period. Well, who knows? That could lead into a whole new chapter called Driving to Singapore. You just don't know. You just have to like let the process happen. Don't think too much. Be in the moment. Take things one step at a time. Paramahansa Yogananda said, if you take care of the minutes, the years will take care of themselves. Okay? If you take care of the minutes, each conversation, each thought, each action, do it with some degree of off-course, on-course awareness, and you'll be amazed at where your life can take you in just a matter of days, weeks, months. Okay? So that's my little rant for today on 2 little videos. This one is 19 minutes, the other one's 34 minutes. So if you add those two together, it's almost an hour. So if I want to make an hour video and send it to Mike, I'll have to just put these two together. I can't add anything else. But that's it. I'm going to send this off to cyberspace. And I'm not even sure if Mike's watching my videos and when he's downloading it at this point. But I hope maybe Mike and Michelle may watch this too. And then there's Yuki, and there's Don, and there's a few of my followers, Eric. My mom doesn't understand. I told my mom about my YouTube channel, but she doesn't quite understand it. But anyway, I'm here. That's the important part. I'm not here sharing this with you. Guess what? You're not going to be here watching it. That's a simple truth. Anyway, back to my driving. Back to my day job. This is Doug signing off from somewhere in the desert between Baker, California. Just went across the border. Headed to Porterville, California, near Bakersfield to the